pooch may lie, the pooch may steal, the pooch may
refer to himself in the third person.
occasionally, but the pooch will not cheat.
Wow, the pooch can relax. I was worried about Cougar.
Yeah, right. It's always the quiet ones.
What? It's blind man's bluff. High card wins. How in the hell can a man cheat you?
I feel like I got something over here.
Queen, King, Jack, Queen, King, Jack. All right. 1, 2, 3, go.
I got a great feeling about this one.
Your mama had a great feeling last night.
Oh, that was a mama joke.
What? All right.
Oh,
Let's go.
okay, it's a
All
game.
right. All right. I will raise you.
You don't want to do that.
Oh, no?
It's a piece you got off that Honduran general.
Yes.
Guess what? I'm definitely in. Oh. Let's go.
All right. Whoa! So even me up.
How many knives do you have? What is going on here?
Cougs, your bet.
Hey, losers! It's time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
Robert.
And the movie that we are covering today is The Losers from 2010. Now, this movie was actually adapted from a comic book series. The Losers is a comic book series written by Andy Diggle and illustrated by Jock and published by Vertigo imprint of DC Comics. And the comics ran for 32 issues from August 2003 to March 2006. So for you Adrenaline Cinema podcast fans, you'll enjoy it for the fact that, you know, it's action-packed, it's fun. You got a great all-star cast. And for you Panels to Pixels podcast fans, it's basically another comic book adapted to film. So this movie was directed by Sylvan White and produced by Joel Silver, Akiva Goldson, and Kerry Foster. Written by Peter Berg, James Vanderbilt, and Andy Diggle. Music by John Ottman. So, Rob, considering you do Fantasy Picks Movie Edition, is this a composer that you are familiar with?
I've heard of him. I'm not very familiar with his stuff. I'm sure there is a few things out there. Well, I mean, he's done quite a few. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at his stuff right now. The only thing that I would say, I mean, he's done X-Men Days of Future Past, X-Men Apocalypse. He did Astro Boy.
Okay.
Which is, you know, he also did Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Superman Returns, regular Fantastic Four, House of Wax. Look at that. So he's done, you know, some notable stuff out there. I'm not going to say that he hasn't, but I haven't really sat down to like really listen to his stuff and analyze it.
All right. Well, the tagline for this particular movie was called "Anyone Else Would Be Dead by Now." That's how they were trying to promote the film at the time when it came out. The movie budget at the time was $25 million. Unfortunately, it made $29.9 million.
Oof.
At the theater.
That's rough.
So, yeah, this is considered a box office disaster. It's one of those direct to HBO or direct to video kind of marketed films at the time, which I find odd too, because the cast that we have within it, some of them at the time weren't highly notable or people that we see now commonly in films and TV, but now at the time, you know, they were pretty much, I would say, at the beginning of their huge celebrity, and this movie didn't really, you know, make the mark. But honestly, in my opinion, I thought it was pretty entertaining and action-packed and fun-filled, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I actually like this movie. I found it to be very entertaining. And of course, funny enough, I know people out there are going to disagree with me, but you remember that I think around the same time,
Mhm.
what was it? The A-Team came out.
The A-Team movie came out, which
Right. So
actually this is something that I had my notes, and gave me that same feel of
same vibe,
vibe. Yeah.
but people like the A-Team better than they did. I actually like this team better than the A-Team. And I think it's mostly because like the actors I think are great. I think, Aldris Alba was fantastic.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan was but honestly the hidden star of all this was Chris Evans. Who I feel like he really made this movie a lot of fun.
Yes, he did.
But it's unfortunate because like you were saying, this movie 48%, it had a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the audience score was still a 54%. So the audience was very divided on this movie. I found it to be very entertaining.
Mhm.
This was like a group of people that I would have loved to continue seeing
Yeah.
other things with.
Yeah, it was like a group of misfits that were able to work together at a certain point, but through some sort of issue became the outcasts or the losers, and then they had to find their way back. So, for those of you who are not familiar with the movie, and yes, this is a spoiler full podcast. It's been notated in the podcast notes. But the synopsis for this movie is a tale of double cross and revenge centered upon the members of an elite U.S. Special Forces unit sent into the Bolivian jungle on a search and destroy mission. The team, Clay, Jensen, Roke, Pooch, Cougar, find themselves the target of a lethal betrayal instigated from inside by a powerful enemy known only as Max. Presumed dead, the group makes to even the score when they're joined by the mysterious Aisha, a beautiful operative with her own agenda. Working together, they must remain deep undercover while tracking the heavily guarded Max, a ruthless man bent on embroiling the world in a new high-tech global war. Now, it's kind of long and convoluted, but that's what you get when you look at Amazon and all these other places for the synopsis that's out there. But in a nutshell, it pretty much dictates what we always knew from the 80s from the A-Team.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, hey, they were, what is it? They were blamed for something and they're on the run and now although at the end of this, they don't seem to be on the run. They seem to have gotten,
Vindicated and
vindicated and stuff like that. So
yeah, they're able to do what they need to, but they become what in the comic happens is that they become for hire, like the A-Team. So that's the one thing I guess they were banking on the idea of having a sequel, and then
they were definitely hoping that this will become a franchise.
Yeah,
and because of the failure of it, that's why
yeah,
they actually scrapped that. Even though there's been rumors for years that they've been wanting to do a second one. I don't know how. I mean, if a second one came around, or maybe redo it again, I don't know.
Be
It would be
interesting.
the thing is that the comic book, and it's funny because I bought the comic book in preparation for this podcast. Haven't read it.
Really?
So I bought it, but I just never had the chance to read it. But from what I've been told, they actually tried to follow I read actually, you know what? I read like 2 or 3 pages,
Mhm.
and it was just exactly like the movie.
Mhm.
And somebody out there was saying that, yeah, they kind of did almost a panel to panel, like a panel to
Panel to pixel.
yeah, a panel to pixel kind of,
Transition.
adaptation of it. So yeah, I'm still interested in reading the comic book to see how closely they relate to each other,
Yeah.
just to see.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very much like, all right, to put a comparison to it, remember The Tick?
Yes.
And it was a comic. they actually adapted it to it. And now, mind you, listeners, we were supposed to do this on Panels to Pixels podcast years ago. We never did it. They actually have 2 seasons of The Tick. Now, mind you, back in the early 2000s, they actually tried to do the series before it failed. But on Amazon, it did very well, but they didn't really pick it up for a 3rd season. And they didn't follow through after that. But it was very good from what I remember because I watched those 2 seasons on Amazon.
I saw those 2 seasons. It's funny because we're talking about this now, but I saw those 2 seasons and I thought it's great because now they have Arthur
Mm-hmm.
looking exactly like he does
In the
either
comic.
in the comic, which the first series did not do, from what
No.
I hear.
No, they didn't.
But this guy Wahlberg was a much better, I think, Tick than the guy that was, in the 2 seasons, because he just, I don't know, he was just like, he looked the part. He spoke like the cartoon. The cartoon was amazing. I love the freaking cartoon.
Yeah, same here.
So I just felt like, oh, he kind of brings that persona out more than the guy from I apologize for not knowing the actor's name in Amazon, but those 2 seasons in Amazon were a lot closely better in writing than the other one.
Yeah,
that being said,
yeah. The first season was like a trial but error,
right?
issue. The guy that you're thinking of actually played the roommate to Shaun in Shaun of the Dead.
Okay,
to give you an idea of the actor,
right.
He's a British actor. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but I remember that's who it is. This guy's buff, has a really deep voice, Americanized his voice at the time, but he did a great job in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to give you an idea of stuff that was going on with comics and how they transitioned to film and certain things like that. That's what literally what happened with The Losers. To let you know, for those who haven't watched the movie or are familiar with some of the people, these are some of the people that we may know from the film. We're going to do brief descriptions off the top of our heads. I'm going to start it off. We have the one and only Jeffrey D. Morgan, who we know as the comedian from the movie The Watchmen from 2009. We also know him as Negan from The Walking Dead that ran from 2010 to 2022, but he literally came in towards the end of The Walking Dead, obviously. He was in a movie called The Fall or Fall in 2022. He was in the adaptation of Rampage from arcade to movie in 2018 with The Rock, if you'll recall that movie. And he was also in Grey's Anatomy as well,
Right.
which my niece, if I didn't mention that, she'd yell at me because he played Denny, and everybody loved Denny.
That's where I first noticed him, and he did such a great job there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was the dad in Supernatural as well.
Okay.
And yeah, he plays the character Clay, which is what was it? The Colonel? They called him.
They called him either the Colonel or what? Let me see.
I think they called him Colonel, from what I remember.
In the movie, they called him more Clay than they did
his
Colonel.
name Clay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But towards the end, they called him Colonel.
Correct.
But next one up is
Idris Elba as Roke.
Yep.
An expert in detonating and deactivating explosives. He is also an expert in knife combat. Alba previously worked with Joel Silver in multiple movies and opted that his ties with Silver helped him sustain a role in the film. But if for everybody out there, Idris Elba is, of course, very well known for British detective show Luther, which is he got multiple. I believe he got multiple
awards.
Awards or Emmys for that. But of course, he's very well known for the MCU's Heimdall.
Yep.
In Thor. So fantastic actor, fantastic in everything he does.
Yeah. Great DJ too, by the way.
He's a DJ?
Yeah, he DJs. He did a live during the pandemic. He was doing a live thing I forget where it was. It was on some island. Everybody was quarantined. They were all they. It was a wild thing. He
Right.
did such a cool thing. Yeah, he was also in Pacific Rim. He's in the Suicide Squad from 2021. He also had well, I'm forgetting the Stephen King movie that he had done back in the day. But he was also in Rock and Rolla and 28 Weeks Later, just to give you an idea. He was also in the Alien movie Prometheus,
Oh, okay.
which we had covered on Fantasy Picks Movie Edition with you on your podcast.
Cool. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he was actually great in that too.
yeah. He's a really talented actor. A lot of people love him.
Listen, a lot of people wanted it, if they were going to do a black Batman, they wanted him to be the Batman.
Or if they wanted a James Bond, they wanted him to be James
Yeah.
Bond.
No, he is at a level, that most actors are not, and I think he's fantastic. So, I
Yeah.
mean, and it's funny because no matter how good he is, sometimes you find him in the wackiest roles out
Yeah,
there.
it is
So
true.
he's not really full of himself in the sense of like, listen, I'm Idris Elba, I'm freaking fantastic. No, it's just sometimes you see him in stuff that you're like, is that really him? I was like, all right, either he needed the money or he just like, I'm bored. I'll do it.
Yeah, he's one of those people to look out for. But that was just like with Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Right.
It's one of those actors that you go, I know that guy. I've seen him before. I love what he does. Just like
Exactly.
the next actor that we have, Zoe Saldana. Who doesn't love Zoe Saldana? Zoe Saldana, oh, a beautiful woman. I'm forgetting where she came from exactly.
Well, she comes from the Dominican Republic.
Okay, she's Dominican.
Yeah, she's Dominican. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think one of her first roles, let me see.
Crossroads?
Center Stage was her first movie, which was an American teen drama filmed by Nicholas Heitner.
Hmm.
But yeah, so she's been in a ton of stuff. She was also in Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Yep.
I think that's the first time I really noticed her.
First time I really noticed her was in was it Abrams' Star Trek in 2009? She
Yeah.
played Lieutenant O'Hara. We all know her in Avatar.
Correct.
So we all know her from that. Obviously, Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. Colombiana is another one in 2011. Obviously, the whole Avatar series. Like I said before, I see it listed here. Crossroads from 2002, which was it's one of those early teen kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm looking at certain things and I'm thinking, nah, these are in here because they just want to throw our name in there. But I don't think she was an original Terminator 1984. But yeah,
Where do you see that?
exactly. It's under Google, but I'm gonna stick with the most.
I'm looking at
important
her
ones.
filmography, and it's quite extensive.
Yeah.
And she's been in some great projects, like you said, Star Trek, Avatar,
Mhm.
and she's been in some, some well-known stuff. But she's done a lot of voiceover work too.
That
So
she has.
yeah, she was in Book of Life, My Little Pony, one called Vivo. Never heard of that one. So she's done a few things, and she's done done a reoccurring role of Gamora in What If.
Yes.
So
Yeah, she's done her voice work for her character in What If, which we are covering on Panels and Pixels podcast for season 2, everybody. So keep in touch when it comes to that. Cheap pop.
she was also in she was in a relationship with Bradley Cooper, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. Just saw that in here in her personal stuff. I was like, okay, sure, why not? Let me
Sure,
mention.
why not?
Let me just mention that. So
Gamora and Rocket got it on. Okay.
hey, sometimes
You just needed a furry love. I know.
sometimes you got to do a raccoon or something like that. Jesus.
Yeah, where did we go? Next up.
So next up is actually Chris Evans, and I would say Chris Evans. Chris Evans, he's the team intelligence specialist and computer hacker.
Mm-hmm.
Evans is fucking phenomenal in this role.
Yeah, he
He
is.
is so funny.
It's his comedic chops that come in from
I
the
wish I
early
saw him.
2000s.
Yeah, I wish I saw him in more comedy stuff because wow.
Well, the one thing that I remember him from is Not Another Teen Movie.
Well, he was also in Scott Pilgrim. He
That
was
is
funny.
true.
He was funny in that. Like he is really real. Like you think of Chris Evans and you think, of course, of Captain America,
Yeah.
right? And in Captain America, while I thought he played a fantastic role in that,
Hmm.
but a lot of his stuff has been comedic in the past, and it
Oh,
was
yeah.
just and like this was actually like his role in this movie
It was
was
more comedic action more than anything.
comedic action, but he was the most interesting guy out of all of them.
He was the face man of the group, if you think about it. He was the
Yes.
pretty boy, manipulator, and does all that stuff, especially when he starts singing that Journey song.
Oh
And
my God. Don't stop believing. When he walked in and started, I thought that was the funniest thing because he was just like going at it. And you could see there was a part that you could kind of see like the actors had a smirk in their face.
yeah, they're
Because
like, I can't believe he's doing this.
well, more like I'm sure like I'm about to bust out laughing because this guy's too funny doing this. But no, yeah, he's fantastic in that. And of course, Chris Evans has, like we said before, known for his role in Captain America, known for his role in Scott Pilgrim versus what's that movie called?
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Versus the World.
Then you got Snowpiercer from 2013, which was also a comic adapted to film and had done 3 seasons of a great TV show that unfortunately was canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, of course, through all the Avenger stuff, he was also in Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Which is also great. He did the one with what's her name? De Armas.
Oh.
Anna de Armas, which I think came out in Netflix. Honestly, that was not the greatest movie. But, I think he's a great actor. I just, I wish he did. I wish he did more comedic roles or a little roles that would like really put him out there to get much more recognized.
Yeah, he could expand his repertoire of like his acting more. He could do dramatic. He could do. I think he didn't want to get stapled as your Captain America. That's all we know you as. But yet he has this comedic side of about him, which is funny too. But for the fact that he was the first Johnny Storm that we knew in the Fantastic Four for the first 2 films that we got. And he was perfect for it, for his comedic timing in that as well. There was a movie that I really did enjoy with him in it. It was him and Scarlett Johansson called The Perfect Score in 2004. That was a little bit more comedic drama. It was based about it's a true story based upon how these kids try to break in to steal all the SAT questions to cheat, so that way they could get the perfect SAT scores.
Oh, okay.
So I have it. It was one of those things where I went to Papa John's and I was standing around. And it's like, oh, they're trying to get rid of DVDs, and it's like, oh, it's for $1. And I picked it up and I watched it. And I'm like, hot damn, this is pretty funny. And it's before Scarlett Johansson was Scarlett Johansson, and before Chris Evans was Chris Evans. But I thought it was pretty cool. And he's one of those stars that you see that you just know, and he's going to deliver whatever he can to provide entertainment.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Especially when he plays himself in Free Guy, when he looks at the whole thing with the shield, when Ryan Reynolds picks up the shield against himself, who's like an Uber version of himself in the movie.
He's also done a lot of philanthropy work too, which is really great about him. So, I think he's a fantastic actor, but also it seems like he's actually a really cool guy. And it seems like a lot of people like him. He's not one of those dick actors or something like that.
Exactly.
Which is great. So,
yeah. And last but not least, there are other actors in the particular movie that I did leave out, unfortunately, everybody, but I had to, I wanted to spotlight those that we all know that we could see and we go, I know that person. So, last but not least is Jason Patrick, who plays Max, the villain in the role, who I like to think of as I think of it as John Travolta in Swordfish, the way he portrays the character.
Well, he portrays a character like a comic book, like the villain in a comic book, because that's
Correct.
what's exactly what this is. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, his character, it's a very comic book character,
Yes.
so and it's fine because that's exactly what this movie is. So he portrayed him pretty well. He's a very freaking, psycho person, the character, but no, I thought he played that part also really well.
Yeah. And well, Jason Patrick, he's no stranger to the podcast for Adrenaline Cinema because when Rima and I covered, of all things, The Lost Boys, you will all remember him as playing Michael from 1987's The Lost Boys. He was also in Rush in 1991, which is a very great dramatic movie. And it was about drug addiction during that time. It was up for a lot of awards. He was also in Sleepers in 1996. He he was the one that was passed the torch of Speed from Keanu Reeves. So he was in Speed 2. Now,
Right.
not something that he would probably want to talk about, but
Nobody wants to talk about
he was
it.
also in like Solar Babies and a whole bunch of other movies. I'm sorry, Jason, if I'm bringing these up and if you're listening, but those are the things that I remember from. But it's not like he's a really good actor in what he does, and I do appreciate him. His father is Jason Miller, who is a playwright and an actor, and you would remember his father from the original 1973 The Exorcist.
Oh,
And
okay.
he played I think what was it, Father Karras, if I recall properly. But yeah, I'll look it up real quick. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Right.
uh, but yeah, Father Karras. Yeah, he played Father Karras, and he also his father actually reprised his role in Exorcist 3, which I did see in the theaters too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he comes from a acting legacy from that, and
Interesting enough, I mean, with his career, his claim to fame is, The Lost Boys.
yeah, and he actually, for you listeners that are out there and that you love conventions like I do, you'll see Kiefer Sutherland, you'll see Jason Patrick there, you'll see a whole bunch of other people from the Lost Boys out there doing conventions as well. Alex Winter and Corey Feldman, they're doing that more and more now. I think Brooke McCarter is another one too, who played one of the vampires. But somebody who's a friend of the show, Sean Clark, actually provides those celebrity guests for conventions, and it's amazing because now they're capitalizing on it. My friend Jamie Dimmick got to meet Kiefer Sutherland and Jason Patrick in one weekend, and it wasn't expensive at all. And she said they were really great to talk to, and the panels were amazing. So if you're a true fan of that kind of thing, look out for it. You just go on. I like to go to them whenever they're available because I love to listen to actors and anybody that's involved in a film or anything like that at conventions. So yeah, but yeah, they I say look out for them and check that out.
Absolutely.
Other than that, we will move right along. So we kind of topped on it a little bit, Rob, but I'm taking it that you enjoyed the film, regardless of it failing at the box office. And
Yeah, it's a fun popcorn flick. I mean, it's like, look, don't expect it to be, freaking Casablanca or anything like that. This is more of a, hey, I want to sit down and just kind of watch this silly movie, and that's exactly what it is. And there's a lot of action, of course,
yeah,
over the top action. There are characters in there that of course, you say, wow, these are kind of also a little bit over the top. But you got to remember, this is coming from a comic book.
yeah,
So I enjoyed it because I think, one, great actors who just seemed like they were actually having fun. Two, again, because of Chris Evans bringing a role and a part to the whole thing, which made it a lot of fun. And also, I think it was also the dynamic relation, like the whole relationship between all of them. You could tell that this was a close-knit group. They've been around for a while. They've done tons of missions. They look out after each other. So you could see that relationship in the movie, which I think is great. So, and it's just a kind of a group that you would love to be a part of, even though I know they do a lot of dangerous shit and, but, so that's why I liked it a lot. I thought it was just just a great movie, to enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. That was the whole point why I wanted to discuss this, not because it was just based after a comic book, but the action gravitated me towards the movie itself. The promos, I saw it on oddly enough, I didn't see it when it was in the theater. I saw it when it was on, I think, either Netflix or Amazon Prime at one
Oh,
point.
I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh, I saw the advertisement for it or something, and I was like, I gotta see this. Oh, this looks interesting. Wow. And it did catch me. I'm like, okay, it kind of gave me the feel and vibes of now it's I'm going to compare it to something that's a little bit more over the top and crazy
Right.
and a little zany, something that I always wanted to cover called The Smoking Aces.
I got to see that movie not so long ago, I believe, a few months ago for the first time ever. And I was like, how did I not see this movie?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie had a lot. You had Chris Pine in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, of all things, you're like, holy crap! And then, oh my god, the guy who played the Blob in X-Men, Wolverine, he was in it too. He's very popular. We talked about him in Real Steel.
Right.
And then you had what? I forget her name. The musician, Alicia Keys,
Yes.
in that particular movie. Jeremy Piven was in it. There's so many people in there. But the thing is that was such a huge thing, a huge movie as well. Very action packed, very diverse. Had some dark comedic humor because it was rated R.
Right.
And not that this wasn't either. But the thing is that it entertained, just like you said before. It was more of like a popcorn film, and that action pack was like you just want to sit there and just like your eyes just don't fall off the screen because you're wanting and anticipating what's going to come next.
Correct.
And that's what really gravitated me towards this, because not just the action, the adventure, but I'm sorry, I have to say it. Everybody in there, as far as the cast, is beautiful. They're beautiful people, in my opinion.
Well, listen, Zoe Saldana is freaking gorgeous in this.
Oh, you see a lot of her.
Yeah, you see a lot of her. Jeffrey D. Morgan, of course, handsome guy too, but they also had him in his he was always like, in a blazer or something like that.
Yeah.
And then of course Chris Evans. Chris Evans, did he do this while he was doing Captain America? No.
I'm not certain.
I just know that he was buff, like he was buffed.
He was buff,
yeah.
But the thing is, all right,
he's always been that way.
He had to have been because Captain America: The First Avenger came out in 2011.
Okay,
so he had to have been like bulking up for the role at that
or
point.
something like that. But yeah, and then of course Idris Elba. But then you had you had the rest of the cast. I think that was actually everybody just good looking cast.
They're good looking people, and that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
There was not a person that didn't say, damn. Go, okay. But the thing is that, it's also, like I said, the comedic wit within the characters and the story plot itself, which was reminiscent of the A-Team.
Right.
To me, I did not know this was a comic book related movie till somebody had mentioned it to me, and they said, brush up, look at it again, and then watch the movie again. And I did, and I could see where it was very much comic booky, but considering it was more military based, and it was like, I guess, their version of an A-Team in comic book form for its time. And now we have it in film. And this was also, like you said before, competing probably with the original A-Team movie that we had in the theaters around that time. So people are like, we already had this movie, and it was on TV. So Why
Yeah.
did they do this? But honestly, I don't think it was a bad movie altogether. I really did enjoy it, and it's one of those that I could throw on in the background at any given time and just have fun watching it.
Oh, absolutely. And we have to also talk about the needle drops in this movie were pretty cool too.
Okay.
With a lot of the just the music itself, and I'm trying to look it up right now because I know that but they had some good, some good songs in this. Let me see.
Well, we already know one right there. Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
Right.
What else? Like Black Betty?
Could be. Hold on.
Yeah. I have it right here in my notes. Black
Oh,
Betty.
okay.
In the very beginning. It's in the very beginning of the movie.
Right.
Yeah, it's like I have it in my notes, and this is me verbatim reading my notes that I wrote several weeks ago because we were supposed to have this out to you a long time ago. But sorry, but it's here now. I like the intro with the betting for the guns in the very beginning, the way they introduce the characters, and then it leads into the mission. So Clay states the name of the movie with calling all the boys the losers.
Right.
And I put in here, I said, I in quotes saying, I love Black Betty as a song, which is a great way to introduce the mission and the team with their mission. Just like the introduction of each character had as the song was going on. And I thought the soundtrack was done well within the action as well as the images that they gave us within the screenshots. So, just to give an idea of where I was thinking at the time when I was watching this as I was writing notes. The action included with music and dialogue, the sacrifice the team does for the kids was really amazing. So that leads to the point of what we were thinking of when you first get introduced to these guys. They really cared for these kids and they got bloated up. You can see it in their faces with the whole thing too. They feel guilty that those kids got killed because of them, and then they are blamed in the news about it. Just like with the A Team, just to do a comparison. But the comic had come out long after that, as well as the movie. So,
Right.
same feeling altogether. And I think in general, the way they're able to introduce each character, it gives us a way of connecting with it. Not just to read my notes, but just to give you an explanation because I have everything bullet pointed and there's not really much to go on.
I specifically liked, I mean, I don't know if you want to get into certain scenes and things like that right now,
You can.
or what is, I don't know what you have next.
No. I literally, this is general talk. We could just talk it in general. There's certain scenes that I do enjoy. The cockfight was great, I thought, in the very beginning, and no, that has nothing to be said about men together naked in any way. This is about an actual thing with chickens.
Don't know if anybody out there was thinking about that except you, Mark.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, we're not a PG-13 kind of podcast, so we could say that stuff here. But regardless, we get the introduction of Aisha at that time, and we see it Roke, Clay, and then they connect trying to get back to some sort of normal where they've been isolated at. They were left in this country, and they can't really go back home at that point. And I just love how it's like even when they say when Rope tries to call him Colonel, Clay is like, don't call me that.
Right.
Because he's not in charge anymore. It's like they're just regular guys that have been outcasted from the world because of what had happened. And then the first interaction with with Aisha and Clay.
Yeah, it's funny how she went from, of course, she was trying to do like a heavy Spanish accent or something like that, and then all of a sudden she goes into regular perfect American English, and he's like, "Whoa, your accent changed."
Yeah, it's like, hello, where'd that come
Right.
from?
But no, I think there were some really cool scenes on there. I think the scenes that I liked the most are where they're mostly kind of like riffing on each other. They're just kind of making fun of each other, things like that. It's like in the beginning when you watch the film, at first, you're hearing like something like happening, and then and I just watched the movie. But there's I just watched the movie, but there's a part there that just makes it seem like, it opens with like something going on, and then you're like, what? and it turns out that I think they were playing a game or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then they were also playing a game with they were playing a game where they had cards on their foreheads.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's how it starts. And then of course, the bets are, okay, Idris Elba puts out a knife, then Chris Evans puts out a revolver, then the guy who plays, what's his name?
Pooch?
Pooch. What's the actor's name on that? Columbus Short.
Okay.
Yeah, so he puts out a bigger gun, and then Nadros comes out with a bigger knife. And
He
that
comes
was
out
like,
with a Rambo knife, in every Rambo movie, it gets bigger. It went from the
yeah.
regular survival one by
Well,
Rambo
funny,
2. It
funny,
was,
funny enough you say that, because that knife that the second knife that he put out,
yeah.
it's a knife that was designed by Gil Hibbins,
Okay.
and that knife was actually designed for Rambo 3.
Which
I
is the one in Russia, or him dealing with the Russians at that time, where it
Correct.
was like a huge thing. Yeah.
So,
It
and I
looked like
know,
a machete.
yes, and I know this because I own that knife too.
Oh.
I own a replica of that knife. So so as soon as he whipped it out, I was like, hey, that's the same knife I have. But I I like those parts. Like another perfect example of that was like towards the very end, where of the movie, where
Yeah.
all of a sudden it seems like they're on another mission, and in reality it was Pooch trying to get to his wife's uh who's giving birth to his son, or I don't know if it was a son or daughter, uh but the
Well,
thing
she
is,
was pregnant, and then she was ready to give birth at that
right,
point.
but the whole thing is, you think it's actually a mission, when in reality it's him trying to sneak into the hospital. And I thought that was kind of a cool thing, where
Oh, at
everybody
the
was
very end.
yeah,
Yeah.
where they were
Yeah.
participating. And then the funniest part, of course, is the soccer match towards
Oh,
the end.
Jensen's niece. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, and they're all there, and then Aisha's like, who bet on against her? I forget it." And then Jensen gets all pissed off, and then he goes, "Well, who would bet against? Who would take points?" And she goes, "He gave me good odds."
Yeah.
And now Aisha is part of the crew at that point.
Right.
So
Correct.
yeah, and she's actually hand in hand if you look at it, her and Clay. So it's like, okay, things did work out, but it's so funny how within the particular movie itself, between Aisha and Clay, it's like hot, cold, hot, cold. You
Well,
don't know who's playing
right.
who.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
her motivation was because she wanted to really kill him,
Mm-hmm.
because I think he killed her dad.
Yes.
So then, but then somehow she's now in the group,
Well, she figured out it wasn't him that killed her father.
it was him.
It was him.
It was him. He said that, your father was a bad man. So yeah, he said, I killed him.
Oh, that's
But she
right.
said that they would deal with this after they finish, trying to get, Jason Patrick's character
Mm-hmm.
and Max.
Max.
And but then after that, it just seems like, okay, she's now part of the group. So what happened to that tension kind of thing? So
They kind of went through it with sex, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I just know
It
that
was probably a little bit more elaborate within the comics.
probably, I mean, like I said, I might have to read the comics just to see how that was dealt with. Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that all of a sudden, this guy went freaking crazy when they knocked down his niece, and he just went out there to, argue with the referee, and everybody had to get involved and all these
Yeah.
things. Again, a really cool group. So
Yeah.
those are the moments in the film that I liked a lot. And I think my favorite part of the thing was when Chris Evans is singing, gets into the elevator, and then after that, when he's escaping and he's pointing at the guards with his fingers,
Mhm.
and he says that he could use, he has, mental powers, and and because he was experimented on, and next thing you know, he shoots them, and in reality, it is, what is it, Cougar? His
Yeah.
the one,
His gun.
yeah, he's
He's
actually,
a sniper.
he's a sniper. and he's the one that was like one of the coolest scenes there, so
Which is also too funny for the fact that Chris Evans was in another superhuman kind of movie. It wasn't Captain America, everybody. He was in a movie called Push from 2009 where people had physical mental powers that they could do that with their fingers. So,
was he? Yeah, you know what? Was he in
yes, he was.
Push? Isn't that the one that Michael B. Jordan was also in it?
Let me take a look at the casting on that. Dakota Fanning, Chris Evans, Camilla Bell, Colin Ford,
I'm thinking probably of something else.
Dimon Hansu, Joel Gresh. Nah. Yeah, it actually had Corey Stoll in it too from Ant-Man. Who
Okay,
everybody
so
hated.
yeah, it's not the one that I thought it was.
No, but this one is about super powered people
Right.
and how they're on the run and then people are trying to chase them. And he has these kind of same powers. But the fact that The Losers came out a year after that movie, and he talks about something that he had powers in from that particular film
Oh,
as a
okay.
joke. I thought it was funny.
Interesting. All right.
But yeah, I also like the a lot of Max's things, like when he was playing I think they were playing Go Fish or something,
Right.
and the way he just like he just winds up killing one of the guys during the card game, and it's just like that typical over the top villain that you do get from comics, like the Joker or something. And on top of that, at the very end when he's on the bus after he's got a gunshot wound, and he goes, "Yo, essay, what do you got?" And he's on the bus and he puts his hand out with his Rolex on it after getting off the phone with Clay.
Yeah, I mean, this film was actually the film is criticized for being a little bit insensitive to other
Ethnic backgrounds.
ethnic backgrounds because he does imitate like with an Indian accent. And then of course,
Yes.
the stereotype of, the guys at the bus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it got criticized definitely for that. But other than that, like I said, to me, it was still a great movie.
Yeah, you got to take it with a grain of salt with certain things
Okay.
like that. I always think. I also like the with Aisha when she comes to everybody's she comes to everybody's rescue with the bazooka or the huge air to what was it, land to
Right.
air rocket to save them at the end. I'm like, oh my god, that's over the top.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there were things like that that I really did enjoy. And honestly, folks, we're not going to go a play by play. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. With this one, we're not. If you, as from what we could tell from what we liked in a film, yeah, some of the stuff is not politically correct. But overall, if you want to watch a good, like what Rob said before, a great popcorn flick, this would be probably one of them that you would want to do and
Right.
watch. It's out there. You could probably rent it or buy it cheaply at this point through iTunes or Amazon Prime, or even look out for like HBO Max or what's Max now. That's called the app, or
Right.
Showtime, and you could probably find it there on demand, or maybe even Pluto TV. It depends. But yeah, there's a lot going on in this film. We don't want to go too far intense of it, but we did enjoy it. We hope you guys enjoy it. If you haven't watched it, and like I said, this was a spoiler-full podcast, but if you like, a lot of people like to listen to these, so that way they'd be like, "Oh, this is what I could look forward to or look out for when I watch the film." Yeah, there's a lot of sexuality in it. You see a lot of, like I said, you do see a lot of Zoe Saldana. No, there's not full nudity. Sorry, but
No,
you
but
do.
you have a lot of parts where they focus on her rear. That you got parts
Hood
that
took us. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, but
so
yeah, it's there.
it's
But
a little bit sexualized, but it's not gratuitous, is what I would say.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's something that we both endorse and suggest highly. If you've seen it before and you have any opinions, always let us know. As always, to move a little bit forward, I didn't really get too much because there's not really much out there about this particular film. But with what I did find out, I found out in some interesting facts or unknown facts or even trivia. As in the comics, Colonel Clay is wearing a white t-shirt with a black suit. The only time he isn't in a suit is in the beginning of the film.
Correct.
So that's something that's out there that's kind of trivia. Director Sylvan White was attracted by the realistic nature of the comic to do the film. What appealed to me about The Losers was that it wasn't the typical superhero with superpowers thing. It was based on real characters, realistic characters, and based in reality, like a lot of European graphic novels that I had grown up reading. So that was the reason for him to actually do this particular film. So those were the few things that I found online that were interesting about the film. But there's not really that much out there. I know that Minty Comedic Arts has actually done 10 things you didn't know about The Losers, so you could look for that. And there's a few other YouTubers out there that I highly recommend that actually did cover this movie in particular. But if you want those, let us know. That's where feedback comes into to place. And did you have any like quotes or anything, Rob, from the movie or no?
There were, it's funny. There's a lot of great quotes in this movie that I would say that, and I'm trying, like,
I only have a couple.
well, why don't you start it off?
All right. One of which I have here is Aisha about Roke and Clay. If you really fought, you would be dead because you care about the others. Because if you realize it towards the end, everybody, Roke went a little bit rogue on Clay.
A little?
So you had guns against knives, so you never bring a knife to a gunfight. Just saying.
Yeah, that's an understatement there.
And then the last one I would have would be never touch the hat. And that's Cougar after the save from the execution, because at the very end, they were all ready to be executed. And then somebody he goes, never touch the hat.
Yeah. I would say the quote that I liked the most was Jensen when he says, "I'm warning you, I'm a lethal killing machine. It was a secret government experiment. They did stuff to me, spooky stuff, anal stuff. It turned me into a dangerous telekinetic. As the ancient Tibetan philosophy states, don't start none, won't be none."
That's a good one.
And I like I said, I enjoyed this movie. Like I said, it was fun.
Yeah, it is fun. All right. Well, I think we covered a lot of this particular film. Like I always say to everybody, it's like if there's something we haven't covered or anything that we on this particular podcast, do send in feedback. For you to send in any of your feedback, all you have to do is go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Adrenaline Cinema Podcast, or facebook.com/Panels to Pixels. And then, just leave them in the comments or do it through Messenger. You can email us at adrenalincinemapodcast@gmail.com. And there you could do a texted email or even just record yourself and send that in, your voice and as an attachment, and we'll play it. Same thing with Panels to Pixels podcast. All you have to do is send it to panels to pixels 1@gmail.com. Panels spelled out, and then 2 is spelled TO, and then pixels and the number 1@gmail.com. You could find us on Instagram as well at Panels to Pixels podcast and at Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. And the best thing you could do is actually give us a rating or review. That will get us noticed a little bit more. 5-star. 5 stars is highly appreciated, but it gets us out there in the ether of the world. So people see that once a 5-star review goes up, people will actually know it. But please type out something if you can. Spread the word. And then with the word, you could always talk to a friend and say, hey, I listened to this other podcast. It's here. And then you can just mention Adrenaline Cinema Podcast, Panels to Pixels Podcast, and they could find it on any player choice. We could be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, any of those. But just tell a friend. Word of mouth helps us.
Everywhere.
Everywhere, as well as on YouTube. So all you have to do is check us out. Panels to Pixels Podcast on YouTube, Adrenaline Cinema Podcast on YouTube. So with that, we also like you to check out all the other stuff because we're in association with Piratecore Entertainment. So all you have to do is go to piratecoreentertainment.com. You could listen to or see other podcasts that are out there, watched it in the 80s, Fantasy Picks Movie Edition, and all the links for Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. So there you have it. So where else can listeners hear you, Rob?
You could listen to us on Fantasy Picks Movie Edition, where we cover failed big budget movies. We do our fantasy drafts or our fantasy pick drafts in film, depending on whether it's actors, directors, or any kind of genre out there. And we also do cover spotlights on film composers. Right now, we're on a hiatus for season, getting ready for season 3. But as always, if you do hear it, let us know what you think. We're always looking to improve the podcast, and and you can always reach us out there. You'll see us also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all those socials out there.
Awesome. And as always, you guys could hear me here on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast, as well as Panels to Pixels Podcast. They're all simultaneous. You can hear me on Fantasy Picks Movie Edition when I jump on there with Rob, Adam, and Frank when we cover all the stuff that Rob just mentioned. You could hear me on Monarch Cast or on Podcastcast/Wilhelm. It's a dual podcast with Wilhelm and Podcastica.com. And we're covering Monarch Legacy of Monsters, and we're finishing that up. So check that out. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Please do send in feedback. All you have to do is go to wilhelm.com or podcastica.com and check that out there. And eventually you'll be hearing me on the Buffyverse podcast as well as a guest. But and until then, we are still covering What If Season 2 on Panels to Pixels podcast. So keep in touch with that. And we will be doing more on Panels to Pixels podcast, as well as more on Adrenaline Cinema podcast as the new year comes. So I hope everyone here has had a happy new year. So happy new year, and keep on listening, and just keep in mind, we all appreciate you. So thank you and good night. I'm Mark.
And I'm Rob.
And we'll see you guys later.
Don't stop believing.